Yep, staying on the payload. It's pretty important. Rose, I think we need a palette cleanser after that first series, and yeah, will it be? If there's more C9s, is it much of a palette cleanser? I'm not sure. In fact, I've got this. I made this. It was me. I made this. It's my C9 board. At the end of the game, I'm going to write how many C9s we got. Hopefully, it's going to be a big fat 0. If it's anything more than 1, we're changing it to H9, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. Houston Outlaws, payload, sellotape someone to it, please. There you go. That was the bit.
Oh, I love
Made
it.
Funny.
No, I love it. I love it. I'm going to be right there with you. I've got like a dice now, like on my desk that I'll turn every time to kind of keep up with the
D20?
number. Yeah, I do.
If you get double digits, I'm going to cry. I will cry.
It's just
all right, Boston Uprising versus the Houston Outlaws. The Outlaws, Rose, they've had a couple of close games against New York Excelsior, of all teams, and the Atlanta Reign last up.
Yeah, they absolutely have. I think yesterday was definitely a look. You know, I think Houston, you know, as the desk had mentioned, are really a team that people are looking at to go, well, you should be getting these dubs and you should be getting them with a lot of confidence and just stomp your way to victory. And that's really not what happened. I think that part of that is that Houston are kind of dropping the spaghetti, but also that the teams that they have been playing against are starting to do better overall. And I think Boston is one of those teams that we should be looking at as a team that has improved.
Yeah, Boston are definitely on the up and up, but I don't think anybody expected a map number 5 versus the NYXL. But we'll talk about Houston in just a moment. Here is your Boston starting 5. Punk, Crimzo, Faith, Valentine, and Victoria. And I like Custer bringing it up on the desk. Well, I guess Danny, but Punk doing Punk things. Incredibly flexible tank player. It's good to see a lot more of him. He's played a lot more consistently in the Boston Uprising roster than he has done in previous years. Of course, we had double tank in Overwatch 1, but with Punk being so versatile and in a meta where you need a lot of off tanks, Punk is the perfect choice for the Uprising.
He is, and Boston Uprising have been doing this thing where they really have been relying a little bit more on a core roster in this stage. You know, towards the beginning of the season, I think they were just trying to flex pieces in and out just to see what was going to work and try to get everybody some play time. But this is where Boston Uprising are kind of, you know, putting it down, right, Jaws? They want to try to win out these series. They need to get some of these wins under their belt, and they've been very, very close.
Yeah, let's have a look at the Houston Outlaws, their opponents for today. And I hope they're not suffering from some sort of mental block. You have to hit the mental gym to get back into the server, I think, after that map 5 versus the New York Excelsior. They almost granted them New York's second win of 2022. And yeah, Pelican did get chewed out by Piggy a little bit in the interview, and it will be Pelican and Merit starting Piggy, Lastro, and Iris. So no Dante, no Doomfist to start off the day. But Pelican, like, Rookie of the Year, like, needs to be able to step up. He looked very flat in the one play that stood out to me yesterday. The perfect example was in the little video before the game, even before we got underway, was the headshot on the nanoblading Genji. Like,
yes,
very, very good shot. But how much of a dampener is that on you as a player? Like, you pop the blade, this is your time to show the server and everybody watching what you're made of, and you get insta-binned.
Yep. Yeah, that's about sums up what happened yesterday. I'm really hoping to see a little bit more life coming out from the Houston Outlaws. This is still a team that we look at as one of the strongest in the league right now for the Western region, and they really need to kind of back that up. You know, especially going to Colosseo as well, Jaws. This is where I start having some questions about, you know, I think this is where Houston Outlaws can start putting their money behind their words. But
money where the mouth is.
Yeah, what are you thinking about this one, though, as we look at kind of the aggressive style that Boston has been starting to play these matches with against a starting lineup that includes Piggy?
Yeah, so on this map, like, Piggy can just play that Sigma, one of his best heroes. Well, he can even flex the Rhine if he really wants to. You just got to be worried about what Boston are going to be running, because, like we mentioned, Punk, an extremely versatile player. Looks like he may be starting on the Doomfist, but the gates are unlocking in 10 seconds. You can still change. Just getting on top of Lastro and Iris might be the aim of the game. or disrupt the front line, just crush Pelican some more and hope he doesn't recover. Looks like the Outlaws running with a brawl composition.
Okay.
Pelican on the Mei, Piggy on the Reinhardt. They've had a little bit of success with this in the past, but not something we usually see.
No,
Piggy on the run.
But I love this because I think this is where Houston Outlaws faltered in their match versus the New York Excelsior. I think when they had Piggy in the roster playing that Sigma, they were playing a little bit too much on the back foot, and so this rush composition really allows them to continue to control the pace a little bit better, so they're not going to just get rolled over. On the flip side, though, it's going to be Sigma here for the Boston Uprising.
Yeah, you don't have speed boost, which is quite frustrating if you're Punk. Outlaws just have to play extremely fast. There you go. There's the wall, trying to get on Punk. What a dodge by Pelican, jumps straight beside the rock. Lamp's been utilized already by the Houston Outlaws, quickly taking care of Victoria, but without a speed boost. In fact, Pelican on the sidelines. Do the Boston Uprising know he's here? Definitely will now, as that giant green wall gets erected. With Valentine backing up with low HP, it's time for the Outlaws to go in once again. They got speed boost, and there goes Victoria.
Yeah, that should spell a disaster here for the Boston Uprising, especially as Piggy continues to charge in. Ooh. Yeah, that looks really good. Houston Outlaws is going to start this one off with some control of this bot, and it's exactly the look that you want to see here. I think this is the confidence we've all been expecting coming out from the Houston Outlaws, and of course, you know, while you're fighting in the neutral a little bit, it's going to take some time to be able to get that control. Houston Outlaws were rewarded with quite a few ultimates they can use here to start rounding this first corner. I'm looking at the Earth Shatter from Piggy to get something done.
Oh, they actually walled Punk off there. Not exactly where you want to be. Punk almost falling. In fact, he does. Open field now for Piggy to shatter, but with Valentine going down too. Boston Uprising going all the way back to spawn. Outlaws, Rose, look how close they're holding right now.
Yeah, well, they have to. They don't want to allow any positioning, forward positioning here for the Boston Uprising onto this bridge, because as soon as Houston rounds this corner, they have a really big advantage being the attacking team. Look at Boston trying to hustle back, though, to stop this progress.
Blizzard from the back. Do they expect it? Slightly. Crimzo pops the Transcendence. Victoria's in a little bit of trouble, but with the Immortality field, he should be good. Piggy has also been frozen, but saved with an Immortality from Irix. Merit, what? Wait! Was that triple collapse?
Where did that come from?
I think that was a triple kill with one railgun. I could be wrong. That was a triple kill.
Replay.
No
Did it just go
way.
through
Did you
all
line
of
that
them?
one up?
Oh my god, they were standing in a straight line.
Best Sojourn player in the league, stats-wise. Hey, add that one to the replay package.
Oh yeah.
Merrick comes out with the first triple kill with the with the overclock in the league. That was just absurd. Boston gets shattered. And what could they really do? Victoria has popped the overclock. Punk already died and had the flux. Outlaws have the checkpoint. This was Houston we wanted to see yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, even at that point where you saw Boston just try to take back control of the payload, they can't do it. Piggy is enough of a threat by himself that Boston doesn't even want to get close despite having the number advantage in players. This is crazy right now, Jaws. I think Houston are just going to go ahead and push all the way to the end.
Flux is okay at best. Piggy gets the Immortality field. The window's been unleashed. Punk has to now back all the way up, and look where that bot is. The Outlaws can just stand behind, wait for Merit to charge up a railgun, get a one-shot real quick. Uprising do plant a window down of their own and gain a little bit of that space that they did end up losing. However, Punk steps a little bit too far forwards, and the Outlaws just continuing to march on forward.
Oh no, you can see that Valentine got booped off as well. Transcendence, Jaws.
Yeah, Transcendence and the Lamp. No defensive tools left for the back line of the Uprising. Got to be careful. Merit jumps in the sky. Headshots Crimzo. He does get taken out by Punk, who's finally switched off that Sigma onto the Doomfist. And the Boston Uprising, for the first time this map, control the bot.
Feels like it's so late though, Jaws. I would have loved to see this Doomfist come out from Boston Uprising at the beginning of the map, and it even looks like, well, where's Punk going? Okay, he's just getting some forward positioning, but yeah, this feels too little too late for me, Jaws. Look at the lead that Houston Outlaws have here and the ult economy that they're in control of.
Well, Outlaws, they've got beat they don't need to worry about some sort of flux because Punk has changed off, so they can just go for this big B engage, I can imagine. Just set up Piggy for a nice shatter. He has less shields to worry about. The Outlaws comp right now looking rather good against what the Boston Uprising are bringing. Utilizing the window. Punk is in a whole heap of trouble. Yeah, Piggy just smacks him straight on his head. Oh, he's going to feel that for the next couple of weeks, I can imagine. The Boston Uprising backing up once again, losing their tank player. Outlaws firmly in control. However, losing Lastro isn't the best. They lose the ability to use that beat, plus the speed boost. So maybe the Outlaws want to back up as fast as they can, especially with Victoria using that overclock.
Yeah, at this point, Houston should just give up the space. They have such an insurmountable lead right now that even if Boston Uprising are able to start pushing towards that first objective, I think this is a really, really tough battle that is ahead for the Boston Uprising. They do have the Meteor Strike coming online, so Punk can start to play a bit more aggressively, but Lastro has a sound barrier, so what a nice answer for an ultimate that could be coming out for the Boston Uprising as an engagement tool.
Yeah, they can even use it if they wanted to stop the Trance getting a lot of value too. If Crimzo trances aggressively, they can just use that beat. Speaking of which, that's a four-man beat. Piggy didn't get it, but he might not need it. The back line of the Boston Uprising in a whole heap of trouble. Faith has been blizzarded. However, that Transcendence from Crimzo is keeping him alive, but not for long. Piggy with a nice pin into the wall as Merit and Lastro just clean up. 3 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Outlaws with 117 meters on the board. This is Mount Everest. Boston are going to have to climb now. Yeah,
you don't have much time left in the bank, and as Houston start to approach this bridge once again, you're looking at Merit with the overclock. I'd be really scared. After seeing that triple that we just saw from Merit earlier, I don't want to be Boston Uprising Knight right now.
What is this? Don't worry about Merit, you've got to worry about Pelican and Lastro in the backline. Victoria takes care of Pelican with a railgun. Merit has used his overclock to recharge those right clicks so fast. The Outlaws, they may have lost one, but they're not going to relent on the aggression. Merit is searching for Valentine. You know he went somewhere. He did end up wrapping around to the rest of his team, but most of them are already dead, unfortunately. The Boston Uprising still have a chance to defend, but with Piggy in with the Shatter, Iris going on high ground, it might be disaster. Although Lastro gets picked off, but Merit's there for the trade.
I mean, Lastro's on Lucio as well, so you're going to be able to get back into this one so quickly that that pick is really not going to feel like it matters. And Boston have made a couple of other adjustments here. Punk switched off the Doomfist, is now on Winston. Valentine switched over to Echo, just a team fight ago. It needs to be able to come back into this one. But where is the support for the pieces that Boston Uprising have put together for this composition? It really doesn't look like it makes sense, Jaws.
Well, they're going to have to make sense of it because Piggy's got the Shatter. And with 2 minutes to go, Boston Uprising looking like they want to fight. Shatter straight on top of Victoria's head. Didn't get the crit, but it wasn't needed. He does end up going down to a right click of Pelican. And the Boston Uprising managed to find a first kill. So Punk ends up jumping into the back line, securing one. And then Piggy just got left out to dry. Nice walls by Pelican so far, but unfortunately wasn't able to save a Piggy at that time around. Outlaws still have the sound barrier and the Blizzard to defend.
They do, but I'm actually starting to really like this dive look coming out from Boston. I'm seeing it in action now. The Winston jumping in, trying to turn the attention.
Merit, 16 HP, manages to get out alive, only just healed up by the Lucio. And the dive comp, yeah, it doesn't need to worry about that Blizzard because you can just jump out of it. Iris and Valentine end up trading, and with Punk's nano boost wearing off, he's going to have to get the Primal Rage rather quickly. A Transcendence to keep the rest of Boston alive and well is going to secure them the fight, but with only a minute to go and, what, 60, 70 meters to gain, the Boston Uprising are going to have to win quite a few consecutive fights to take this map.
Well, they're poised to do so, Jaws. Look at how many ultimates Houston Outlaws have used so far. Really, they're only going to have Merit's overclock to be able to defend this objective, as Boston should be able to get this first cap here if they just push the pressure on.
Oh, yeah, Piggy wasn't in LOS of Iris at all. Like, Lastro was healing him, but Lucio AoE heals, not the best when there's so much damage being flung at you. 15 seconds to go. Checkpoint unlocked for the Uprising.
They just have to keep control of this. I know overtime is going to get an effect in just a few seconds, but you've got the duplicate, you've got the Primal Rage. Go aggressive, Boston.
Piggy in a little bit of trouble. He was antied. Immortality Field to save his life. Perfect time to Valentine to maybe go in with the help of Punk. Like you said, Rose, he has got the dupe. If he dupes Piggy, to be fair, this could be quite nasty. Merit on the back. Valentine going for the dupe. He actually dupes the back, but instantly killed. Duplication, ultimate denied by Merit, and now Merit in a little bit of trouble, but he's got the heals at his back. Victoria pops the overclock, finds the kill onto Piggy, and with the Iris going down, the Outlaws have very little heals. Pelican dying on the point, 95 meters to 117. The Houston Outlaws need to get back to this payload in time. It's approaching that golden line of victory. Boston Uprising with a nano and a transcendence coming up.
That's a lot of sustain here. Valentine even trying to rush back with the Tracer as well. Will they be able to get back in time before Houston come back to defend?
Nano boost on to Punk. Crimzo needs this transcendence to come up, and it's come up now. Punk's already killed Merit. Big damage dealer now missing for the Outlaws. Piggy needs to get healed. He's so low. He's a couple of percentage points away from the Shadow 2. Iris jumps high to the sky trying to avoid Punk, but gets chased down. Piggy so low, can't get healed to the Boston Uprising. They've managed to turn it. The Houston Outlaws, with over an 80-meter lead, managed to lose it. The Boston Uprising are going to claim map number 1.
Oh my goodness. It didn't look like they were really going to be able to do it, Jaws. It looked like an insurmountable amount of a lead that Houston Outlaws had accumulated, but with some really nice flexibility from Boston and some strategic changes throughout that map, they did it. They somehow did it.
You can see how excited they are on the cameras. I mean, what an unbelievable comeback. Some people would have called it pretty early on when Outlaws get over 100 meters and almost touching their spawn doors, but the Boston Uprising did not. They take the first map over the Houston Outlaws. Let's take 5, and we'll be right back. Holy merit. Triple collat to start off this series. My God, that is the filthiest play of the year so far. That's going to go down in the history books for sure. I was wondering how long it would take before we saw just a single collateral, just 2 kills with 1 railgun. And we've seen, what, a couple of them maybe, but a triple? Like,
it's so good.
Insane stuff.
Yeah, Merit has earned that #1 sojourn in the league for the West for now. Yeah, that play definitely proves that. But we've got a sub MCD now coming in for Faith for the Boston Uprising after they managed to get that win on Colosseo.
Yeah, Outlaws pushed 117 meters, like stupid amount of cart gain, or wall gain, I suppose. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then the Boston Uprising managed to come back after that. Like, that is something you don't usually see on push. And like I said before, yeah, a lot of people would have called it after Outlaws get over 100, let alone 117, but the Boston Uprising, through thick and thin, managed to secure Colosseo. Going to Dorado as our next map, and MCD is coming into the roster for Boston Uprising.
Yep. So I think we're going to end up seeing some really nice looks again coming out from Boston. I mean, one of the reasons they were able to win that first map despite the odds being stacked against them was because of the flexibility that they have in this particular roster. I mean, those late changes, like Jaws, when you take a look at that and you go, oh, there's only so much time left in a map and you're seeing these changes come through, you're like, is that really gonna help you right now? You know, like, are you gonna get back on the rotation for your ults and like outlast the other team? It's always such a risk, but there's definitely high reward there, as we saw from Boston being able to utilize the strategy like that. And I think MCD offers a lot of really nice other kind of flexibility options here for Boston.
Yeah, the big flex pick in that map, Rose, was Punk. He played 3 different tanks. The Doomfist, the Sigma. Well, if you're chronologically, Sigma, and then he swapped over to Doom, and then the very end,
Winston
swapped over to the Winston and managed to make it work. He not only got the nano, jumped into the back line, Iris was history, Piggy was alone and isolated, antied, and yeah, it was a rough defense for the Outlaws as Boston Uprising were nearing that golden line of victory. But we'll see what they want to do on Dorado. A bit more of an interesting map, and again, a map that you can play a lot of these long-range hit scans. We've seen Hanzo, we've seen things like Ash even, but I can imagine the Outlaws going to stick with the same kind of thing. Their Merit is going to be back on the Sojourn, Piggy probably on the Sigma. I'm curious if they do play this rush style again, Rose, because Dorado, especially first, how close it is. You can play Rush quite effectively there.
You can, but Boston Uprising have already dismantled that look from the Houston Outlaws. They went over to that dive composition on Colosseo to find the victory, and I liked that they were able to make that strategic decision because you could see that having those dive heroes with more mobility was allowing them to skirt around things like the May Blizzard, like the slows that could come out there, and also keep up with the Lucio continuing to move those pieces around the map.
Well, let's have a look. So we dive on in what they want to do. Yeah, if I were the Boston Uprising right now, it's just more, okay, if you're going to run that
more
rush,
dive.
Play the Winston.
Yeah.
Or dive. We will just play the Winston again. Not a problem whatsoever. And that's the best thing about tank players in Overwatch 2 and having good ones that can be so flexible, you can change stuff on the fly. When we see the Outlaws and they play Dante, we know they're going to play Doomfist. When we see Piggy, it is a lot more varied. Of course, we see the Reinhardt coming out from Piggy, the Sigma for things like Circuit Royale. And that's the key to a strong tank player currently, is just being able to be flexible.
Well, it's not only that, just being able to play a bunch of different heroes, but also adjusting your play style to really fit what is necessary in the moment. You know, I think for Punk, one of the things that is really great about this particular player is not only the deep hero pool, but I think Colosseo is a great example of how Punk went from, you know, trying to focus on more of like the front line and then realizing, oh, I got to go a little bit faster. And so playing something like the Winston requires you to change that mindset of, well, who am I actually going to target here?
Well, it looks like Boston want to start on the Doomfist instead. Victoria Widowmaker and Valentine on the Genji, so fairly aggressive. And MCD and Crimzo on their best heroes, on the Ana and the Zen respectively. Early grapple. What you gonna see? Nobody.
Yeah, that's okay. I think it still allows Victoria on the Widowmaker to get set up. You can see that Houston is actually going with a dive of their own. We've got the Genji and the Sojourn here, just to be able to support the other pieces, with Piggy being on the Winston. So maybe this will allow for Houston to kind of start being able to dive the back line as well, but it's going to be about those trades.
Yikes, MCD dies rather quickly. He was on the high ground too. Lastro must have just hit him a couple of times in the head and then one in the body. Nice trade though, as Pelican goes down. However, Crimzo falling, yeah, Boston Uprising getting folded like a piece of paper on first. That's a good couple of shots from Lastro. He just finished up Punk with the help of his team, but killing MCD that early, yeah, Punk's got no chance of surviving in the front line.
That's your backline is so valuable, whether it's going to be the extra damage coming in from the Discord Orb to kind of just help you get that, or of course the healing output of the Ana. Use one of those pieces that could be a team fight loss like 9 times out of 10. You know, at least Boston on the second point, they are able to take that high ground positioning now, but Houston capped that first point so fast, Jaws. They've got over 5 minutes in the time bank.
Yeah, the payload just didn't stop moving. Victoria now checking Pelican, so he can't get a nice angle. Outlaws can kind of chill for the time being, I suppose. Just wait for Iris to get this nano, move payload as far as possible in the meantime. Maybe Pelican gets the blade. He's going to have to do a sizable amount of damage, which, to be fair, he is doing. He's up to 80% already. Nano boost available for Iris as he's signaling that. LG skills, oh, not quite there. Piggy trying to get those right clicks. Receives the nano, jumps straight to high ground. Beautiful sleep. But Iris follows the dive up from Piggy with a nade and kills MCD. The Boston Uprising have used a nano of their own, but it didn't go the lengths that Piggy's nano did. The Outlaws just steamrolling at this point.
Boston Uprising need to start getting their act together here. Maybe it's going to be this last-second contest on the second point. Crimzo's down, though. No Transcendence. Okay.
A nade and a couple of shots onto Crimzo. No Transcendence now. Pelican has even got the blade. Meteor Strike? No. Answered in kind with a trance from Houston Outlaws. Wow. This is gotta be a record-breaking pace. 5 minutes and 20 seconds entering the Foundry. Yeah, the payload is not stopped.
Nope. This is giving me vibes of the Atlanta Reign series that we had versus Washington Justice, where we saw a full cap with, you know, I don't know if Boston's going to win a fight here unless they use this Transcendence from Crimzo aggressively. I know that there's a blade coming out from Pelican, but are you really going to wait for the nano?
Blade from Valentine, he's pretty low. Polson got thrown out too. Kills Lastro, hasn't got a dash resets. He's getting battered by Piggy in the Primal. Oh, nice sleep by Iris there. Can they get the execute? Doesn't look like it, but a big anti on Valentine and Punk send them pretty low. And now Punk without a shield block ends up falling down. The Outlaws have still got a blade, a nano, and an overclock for this next fight.
Yeah, I don't... Transcendence can only help you so much. And at this point, with the amount of damage that could be coming out with, of course, the Discord Orbs on top of it, too, I don't know if Crimzo alone will be enough to deal with this unless you take out the Genji.
This may be ending right now. Oh, ends Crimzo's life. See ya, son. There's a double for Merit. 2 little body shots there, kills off 2, and now it's a 3v5. Houston Outlaws camping the spawn doors. Feels pretty good. Crimzo still got the Transcendence. He can use it. Punk's dead. Payload a couple of meters away. Pelican finally pulls that blade. The deflect from Valentine wasn't worth it. And all the way back into spawn is Crimzo and MCD now. And Nano onto the Zen. Doesn't help the Uprising one single bit. 3 minutes and 37 seconds for Outlaws. That was a quick round.
Very quick. Very quick indeed.
This is the opposite of what happened to Colosseo. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is.
Although,
it is.
actually, it might not be. Because the Outlaws, right?
Oh.
They got, what, 117 meters? And then the Boston Uprising managed to get, you know...
Jaws, that is so cursed.
So maybe the Outlaws finished fast, but Boston Uprising finished faster.
Oh, it is about the marathon and not the race. So if you... Just because you have more time in the time bank doesn't necessarily mean it's going to equate to a win. As long as Boston Uprising can get these 3 points captured, then we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there, Jaws, okay?
Could be quite cursed. We've already had a pretty cursed day, let's be real with ourselves. Yeah, so this match could be even more cursed. If Boston Uprising cap with time or quicker, and then sweep the Outlaws, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah,
so,
we'll see.
Piggy switching over to the Sigma for their defense.
Okay, all right. So, you know, one of the things that I want to call out as a positive there from Houston Outlaws, just besides the fact that they didn't let Boston Uprising win a single team fight, is that they recognized that Crimzo was holding on to that Transcendence for so long that there were like 3 instances I would have liked to see that Transcendence come out, and we didn't see it ever because Crimzo just got picked off. So I hope that maybe we can see a little bit of a difference here in terms of using the Transcendence a bit more proactively to help the team, because the way that Houston Outlaws has been playing, you can't really wait to give a reaction.
It's definitely tough in those situations as a support because you want to use it effectively.
Yeah.
But sometimes that effectiveness, you can't really just wait because it's not going to get full effect, but like I still need to use it because we're just losing team fights and we're getting rolled. Like it's definitely a tough one, and then you don't want to throw it out and get no value. So
yeah, I don't admire the position that these support players are in, and by any stretch of the means, especially when you have 1 Transcendence and you have like maybe 2 things that you're trying to like save it for. It's a really tough decision, but you know, it falls on the team as a whole to kind of come up with how you want to use these things. As
70 pretty rough. Also a rough existence for Punk and Valentine there, as Pelican just resets off them both with the Genji. Oh, Shurikens. Go on, one more peek.
Oh.
Not quite.
Now, you can't deflect a Winston Tesla cannon. That's not how that works. But, you know, at least Punk was able to go in, body block, make sure that the team could get back to the payload fast enough that they are starting to go under this car wash, and hopefully if they're able to get past that point, they'll be able to make the progress to capture this first objective. MCD does have the nano to kick things off if you want to give that over to Punk.
Nano. Punk undeterred by that rock from Piggy. However, MCD in amongst the chaos ends up going down. Merit just threw that disrupt shot into the back line and it managed to find value. Pelican, Merit still cleaning up on the Sojourn. It is so clean. He's laughing. I mean, there should be 2 minutes burnt off the time bank right now, and no ultimates in that fight used for the Outlaws.
Yeah, nothing. So they're going to have a full slate here. I mean, if you go fast enough, if Pelican's able to land a couple of Shurikens, you get that Blade online, go Nano Blade, you might outpace Crimzo having the Transcendence. And so if you don't have that tool, you don't have a Baptiste either to help you.
Oh. The pain continues, but Punk is good. He's primal, however, not so good. Sub 100 HP, and still, unfortunately, pretty low. There's the kill for Pelican. He didn't really have a say in that matter. Oh, nice little flick headshot there from Victoria. Transcendence for Punk is going to get used, but Nano onto Piggy is going to make sure they don't go down without a fight. The Outlaws still have that Blade in their back pocket. An expensive fight for the Outlaws, but they managed to hold on to the payload.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's okay. I mean, they still have Pelican's Dragon Blade. They forced out the Transcendence, and now it comes down to DPS ultimates versus DPS ultimates. At least for Boston Uprising, they're a little more in the tank here, as Valentine is coming up to that duplicate, just provide a little bit of extra tankiness. Except
already dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't shoot that deflect, you're good. Oh, Punk managed to... Ooh! That was a nice little angle there from Victoria. Does finish off Merit. Outlaws not using that blade. Unfortunately, Pelican just went down pretty early on in that fight, trying to stop those flanks. However, Lastro is in the back line. I repeat, Lastro is in the back line. Okay, he is dead. Good stuff. Somehow he got there, killed Victoria, almost got away with it scot-free. Punk's in a little bit of trouble now, and so is the rest of the Uprising, as Pelican has pulled the blade. A duplication on to the Sigma for Valentine, and with 2 tanks on the field, it looks pretty hard for Piggy to really do much. However, Pelican does manage to end the copy, but not before Punk can kill off Merit. A good sleep onto Iris, but the numbers are in favor of the Uprising right now. Pelican is in onto the point. Lastro is pretty low. Somehow Pelican is still managing to find kills, but it shouldn't matter. There it is. Payload capped for the Uprising. Not as quick as the Outlaws, but they still managed to get it in.
Oh, that's all that we ask for, right? Doesn't matter if it's in overtime or if you've got lots of time in the bank. You just got to get there, okay? So Boston Uprising, they're starting to walk through the paces of Dorado here. I mean, they still have a lot of really nice utility available. I mean, Valentine already up to 40% towards another duplicate could be really impactful going into the latter half of the second point. You can see that Houston Outlaw is actually going to switch Pelican off of the Genji, and they're going to go over to the Echo as well.
Yeah, I mean, for high ground control, kind of makes sense. You don't really want to give that away for free. Although saying that, Outlaws are holding by the statue currently. Flux is going to met with a Transcendence. Can anybody pick someone off? No. Pretty difficult to do so. You have to time that well. But there's no real burst damage there to be had. Iris goes down to Victoria, but look at Pelican's positioning. MCD is in a whole lot of trouble. In fact, maybe Crimzo was, but no. Volley kills off Lastro and Pelican. And the Boston Uprising continuing to get the payload going. And with high ground control, this comp could be pretty deadly. Piggy's going to have to tussle with not only Punk, but Valentine and Victoria if they go high ground.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love the way that they actually played from that. It was a little bit of a head scratcher, right? Like, why are you in the courtyard? That's a little weird. But it actually provided them with a lot of cover so that you could deal with all of the different ways that Houston Outlaws might be able to try to reach you. And we do see that high ground being controlled by Boston right now. And so Houston have this really kind of awkward decision of, do we go up to the high ground ourselves by Ivy?
Overclock available for both Sojourns. Victoria's going to pop his first. Nano boost onto Punk. It's a whole heap of damage being flung towards Outlaws, and a Transcendence is going to subdue the Boston Uprising just for the time being. Oh, wow. Crimzo almost killed Merit. A beautiful sleep from MCD once again. But unfortunately, it doesn't get a reset when you hit somebody, and the rest of the team is able to clean on up. The Outlaws holding for quite a while on point A has just deleted the time bank of the Boston Uprising. They've got 10 seconds to go, and it looks like Valentine and Punk are the ones to touch.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to try to go as fast as you can. Hopefully they can get there.
Oh, yep, they got there, but Punk is dead. Valentine, can he get the dupe? He can. Transforms into the Doom Fist, but you get only 300 HP when you transform into a tank character now. And the Boston Uprising do manage to trade Piggy for Punk, and a Transcendence will do them good and proper. But with Crimzo's Trans running out, the Outlaws just need to hold on for the spawners to come in. Valentine is dead. Lastro's been nanoed. He's taken over the game. Overtime is here, and the Boston Uprising are definitely not. It should just be the Punk kill, and it's done. It is. The Outlaws, they claim Dorado and tie the series up.
Ooh, that was convincing too. That was a really convincing win for the Outlaws. I think that they finally hit their groove. Maybe Colosseo just kind of proving that that was, you know, not characteristic.
A little fluke.
Yeah.
A little fluke, maybe. Yeah. That's pretty reasonable. But still, one apiece in the series after a blistering pace set by the Houston Outlaws. Can they continue down that track? We'll have to wait and find out. So join us for map number 3 in just a bit.
don't let me in the mood.
Please don't let me into my zone. I just need some time of my own. All these people trying to get a conversation. You can conversate to that tone. My gut eyes on that throne, yeah. So I'm never alone, yeah. All these people trying to box me in. I'm at whether it's on, yeah. Now they ask where I'm at. Making hits that line back. I'm MJ, I'm 2-3, man. I just need some time back. I'm zoned in like defense. My life gone, no recess. But I live my best one, so I got no regrets. So I'm gone. Finally back in my home. I'm working like so much. They swear I had me a clone. Can't answer my phone now. Just leave it there, that tone. Ballin' can't beat me up, cause I'm back in my zone now.
Welcome back. One apiece now for the Uprising versus the Outlaws. No C9s just yet.
Nope.
Still 0. I've not written anything just yet. Oh, you can't see. I'm not even on the screen. That's fine. That's fine. Don't need to see my ugly mug anyway. Boston Uprising and the Outlaws, after what was an unbelievable quick 3-point cap for the Outlaws on Dorado, they managed to hold the Boston Uprising just before that second point. A rather classic hold spot on Dorado. Nothing has changed. And this is this is the Outlaws game that we kind of expected in map number 1. It was just unreal clutch factor from the Boston Uprising in Colosseo. And now we go on to a hybrid map, and we're going to Midtown, Rose.
Yeah, I kind of, going into this series, expected Houston to take these payload maps. You know, Dorado, not really a surprise to me that Houston has won that one, and also in a very convincing manner. Midtown, I'm also kind of expecting that Houston Outlaws are going to take this one. They just do a little bit better with, like, time to set up, and then also just kind of playing with momentum. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like we're going to get a 5-mapper. That Boston is just such a scrappy team.
Extremely scrappy. Well, can they carry that on, though? I mean, that was an unbelievable speed run of Dorado. I don't want to call it a record, but it felt quick.
It did.
Like,
it did.
Ridiculous how fast they pushed the payload. I felt like there was a minimum of 2 people on the payload at all times.
Yeah.
It was just at the very end, there was what, like maybe a reset, like 1.5 resets maybe.
Yeah.
It was fast. It was very fast.
It was. And I think that when you look at how Houston just kind of keep pushing the pace of these fights, I would like to kind of continue to see them do that. A lot of that, though, on the attack for Dorado was with the Winston, and we're seeing Piggy start out on this attack with the Sigma. You know, we did see some success on that as well in that last map, but I'm kind of thinking we might see a tank swap here. Let's just see how well the Sigma does to kick things off.
You know when you want to go for the rotation underneath, or just take this high ground where Punk is chilling. Looks like that's where Outlaws going to go. Yeah, just standard rotations. It's up to Valentine really to make a play here if he really wants to triple dash in, or no, ideally not triple dash in. Ideally not fall down though to Alastro. That's the opposite of what you want to do. Yikes.
Yeah, that doesn't feel good. Now as a Tracer, that does not feel good.
Just fully right-clicked and yeah, see ya.
Yeah.
I mean, now look at the Outlaws. It's hard for the Boston Uprising to really push back in. Almost a couple of ticks for free now for Houston. Punk is still on, well, I guess Outlaws at this point, side of the map. They need to dislodge him, or to be fair, they could just leave him there. He's the one that can touch the payload and hold it for an extended period of time. He's doing a good job of just forcing the Outlaws back and having to make sure they do check everywhere at once. How the Lastro comes up with yet another kill, this time onto Crimzo. Nice anti-nade onto Punk. Capitalization for Outlaws. Does look like it. Yeah, Punk goes down. And with only a couple of percentage points to go, this should be the point to unlock it. There it is.
Yeah, Victoria couldn't have backed up from there. And honestly, once Boston Uprising lost Valentine, you just lost your ability to kind of clean up a lot of these fights with just the one clips and everything. But hey, Houston Outlaws, they're getting this cart rolling. They're probably feeling pretty good about this. Also very confident after that last map of Dorado. And while Boston Uprising can take this high ground, there's so many ways that Houston Outlaws can also go in and match that, like Pelican on the Genji.
Oh, wow. Okay, a little bit of revenge there, Valentine. Nice little stick too, mind you. Nice double kill. All right, that
You're forgiven for your sins. Make that a triple. Double kill for Pelican, though, with the blade. Make that a triple, too. Valentine versus Pelican. They kill 3 of each team. However, Pelican a little bit quicker with the blade as Merit finishes off Valentine, and Pelican finds the 4K.
Pelican was not headshot this time. Let's go. That feels good. Definitely.
Onwards and upwards.
Yeah, exactly. Gonna keep everything going. Piggy now can kind of follow up that impressive Dragon Blade with a Flux, and we still don't really have a great response here from Boston just yet. If Piggy wants to go ahead and hit the ult, then I don't really know how much else Boston can do besides maybe just going for a Flux of their own first, as Punk also has that available. Ooh, nice yeet.
No connection, though. Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah, Victoria didn't expect going down there. Nano boost available for Boston Uprising, but again, they lose Valentine. I mean, Valentine did get that triple earlier on, but going down this early in the fight, not good. Looks like another speed run for the Outlaws. Okay. Look at this, point 2 capped, 4 minutes 35 into point C. Boston Uprising need to come back, and Valentine says, no, I want a more defensive tool. I want the Genji Reflect.
I feel that.
Gimme.
I mean, at this point,
although
though,
Tracer has recalled, one of the best, like a super good ability to mitigate damage, but I guess he's kind of annoyed at just getting randomly one-shot.
I think so. That, and on top of that, too, sometimes the recalls can be a little telegraphed, especially at this level. We've seen so many people just be like, I'm going to, you know, I know where you're going to be. It's fine. They just aim that way.
Oh, okay. Victoria starting the fight off with a bang with the overclock. Pelican goes down first to Punk's hands. That's about it. Victoria didn't really find much else. Houston Outlaws with the smarts there. They do back off. Just LOS Victoria. Victoria can't really push in without getting focused.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one for the Outlaws to just kind of figure out how to play around this corner. Piggy Shield is going to help, though.
Oh, nano boost onto Valentine. Merit has used the overclock, and Valentine ends Lastro's life quick, sharp. Even tries to dance with Merit a little bit there. A small little waltz doesn't really result in all too much. And the Outlaws just happy to trade ultimates right now. They've got Nano Blade coming up in a couple of %, so maybe that's just what they're waiting for. Crimzo sitting right to the back has the Transcend. As long as Crimzo doesn't go down, they should be good to mitigate that Nano Blade.
Yep. I think they're getting ready for it as well. As you can see, Pelicans are trying to get the dash reset up and running. Looking for an opportunity.
Yeah, a couple of seconds. Okay, he's got dash. He's calling for it. Nano, Blade, straight to the back. The Transcendence not enough to save Victoria. The slash and then dash kills Punk too. What a nade from Iris. That does absolutely nothing when Pelican's in your face. A 5 kill for the Genji. And that's the Pelican we know and love.
Yeah, that's gonna feel so good. And Houston just kind of gonna walk the payload into this final point. Oh my god, Victoria can't even get there.
Flux is coming up though. Punk is so close to that ult. 3% away. And the Boston Uprising backline unable to keep him alive, and Pelican still being a menace. Now a blade from Valentine, dealt with quite easily. An anti-nade on the floor, and Lastro with an orb. The Houston Outlaws, off the back of that 5K from Pelican, end up completing the map with time to spare. 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Another very fast completion.
Pelican had some great pop-off moments in this match already. But this has just been such a treat, Jaws. I mean, this is the Pelican that we expect and that we know and love coming out from this player, whether it's the Genji, whether it's been the Echo towards the beginning of stage number 1. You know, we didn't get a chance to really see those moments yesterday, but this has been really spectacular and has helped out the Houston Outlaws a lot to be able to keep that cart moving forward at record paces. But we're switching sides, and now Boston Uprising have a chance to hopefully stay in this. They fell pretty short on Dorado, even just catching that first point in overtime. And now you have to capture a hard point here too. I hope they can do it and at least kind of match it and get that 3-point capture too.
Oh yeah, there's the blade. Look at Crimzo's positioning too.
Oh,
so
yeah.
close. Slash and the dash. Punk gets naded. Another slash and dash. And that deflect does a whole lot of work against the blade, but it didn't matter as soon as that ran out. Easy pickings for Pelican.
Yeah, absolutely. No surprises here that Houston Outlaws are going to stick to the composition that got them that 3-point completion. I like how they're set up as well. You know, they're scattered around the back of the point. And so that just provides a ton of different angles for the Houston Outlaws to use, especially knowing that Boston Uprising on that first attack, defense push really didn't have many great tools to be able to just dive a specific target. Oh. Yikes. Okay.
Bit overzealous there from Pelican. Valentine has a nice position now. Does someone help Little Astro? Oh, not quite. Crimzo from downtown just finishes him off with a couple of orbs. Quite like the Outlaws' offense there. Boston Uprising put themselves on the payload quite quickly. On the point, at least.
Hey, well, that's good. I mean, that's kind of where Boston, I feel like, is able to get most of their confidence from, is now they've got tons of time to work with, where they were lacking on that in Dorado, and now they are able to kind of take this closer fight as well versus Houston, which could really set them on a good foot if they're able to win this.
Pelican goes solo. He's getting pocketed though. He's got Orb, and Iris is just shooting heals into him. However, with the anti-nade, he has to be careful. Deflect, and he's good. Still chilling. Outlaws aren't healing anybody else except for Pelican right now. I mean, to be fair, I do the same thing. Nano boost onto Pelican. There's one, there's two. Make that a third. Easy peasy. Pelican once again doesn't even need the blade to finish up the rest of the Uprising. And now Punk is in at the spawn, but maybe not for long. Antied and dealt with.
Would have been good for Boston Uprising to win that fight, but it's really detrimental now that they didn't. Look at where their options are to really get back to this payload. Houston Outlaws could just kind of say, okay, well, you know, come to us. You walk right into all of the damage that we're sending towards this payload. Pelican's still up there. Who's going to be able to go after him, really? Except Valentine.
Oh. He's trying to force deflect on a Valentine, so he gets a semi-free blade. Punk dying though. Yep, okay, that is over. If you get the deflect out of the Genji and then Iris gets a nade onto the front line, Crimzo's ultimate just does nothing, like we saw before.
Yeah. It's a tough position to be in as the Zenyatta in this meta, right? Like, when do you actually use Assault for what? And are you gonna, you're like the focus of a lot of the fire that's coming your team's way. To be able to get that ultimate out, it's a tough position to be in.
Well, looks like Uprising want to go first. A couple of little rail guns, however. Valentine in the back, nice through the Transcendence, gets 2-3. Oh, not today. Iris puts him to sleep. Valentine still with a couple of kills. Oh, manages to get back up with 12 HP. Was even anti. Beautiful shield from Punk to stop that damage connecting.
Wow.
Iris did put him to sleep, but not before he got some work done.
That was really well timed from Punk. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Valentine would have been dead otherwise if that shield hadn't come through.
Oh wow. Very early Transcendence there. Piggy's ultimate not getting all too much. Pelican still with a blade and a nano coming up for Iris. Perfect position for the Outlaws to be in. Pelican's on high ground and there's no one there, Rose, to really match it.
No, who do you send?
Oh,
Valentine? Maybe?
They're going now.
Okay. Ooh. Take the high ground away, but they gotta be wary about this blade. I mean, I don't even mind that the Transcendence isn't available.
Flux, here's the nano blade, straight in the back. Can they hit the sleep? They do dodge out the way. A nice rock from Punk ends Pelican's life. He wasn't looking that way at all, and Punk got the Flux off before Pelican could jump towards Crimzo and MCD. And now Merit trying to end the fight with a railgun. He's in a good position to do so, but he's pretty low. Crimzo comes up clutch again, killing Lastro. And with the payload only being 1 meter and 40 centimeters to go, they should be good to end it. There we go. Punk and Crimzo cleaning up. Pelican's blade got absolutely nothing there with a well-timed rock from Punk to shut it down.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't even just the rock, right? Pelican fell for the bait of trying to go after Crimzo and MCD. So yeah, you get the accretion to the back, and then you also have Crimzo and MCD that can do some major cleanup with the anti and then just getting a really nice volley into the head. So well played from Boston Uprising to mitigate such a critical tool of Houston, and they're getting close, Jaws. We may be able to go into extra rounds here as long as Boston finish with some amount of time in the bank. Let's see with this nano.
Approaching for Boston Uprising. The ultimate from Victoria, that overclock, sending those shots. Oh my god, what a turn on. That was crazy. Victoria's looking one way, wadoom, 180. Just turned on him, unlucky. 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go. The Outlaws can stop the payload, but Boston looking like they want to complete with more time than Houston right now. Victoria's got the blade, he's received the nano. Does he choose to go in just yet? Looks like he wants to wait and find out. Pelican dashed onto the point to try and stop things from capping. However, this Transcendence is going to stop Valentine doing all of anything. The blade, merely just a fork in this situation. The Outlaws need to help Piggy, but he ends up going down. He had the flux. The Boston Uprising down, use the flux of their own. Merit falls, and now it's just Pelican on the point. He's got the nano, the sustain, but little survivability. 1 HP taken care of, and the Boston Uprising get the full cap with 1 minute and 56 to go, or to spare even.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, really similar time banks for both of these teams so far. This is getting mighty interesting, Jaws. Mighty interesting. And after Dorado, I kind of would have expected Houston Outlaws like had the whole payload thing figured out. And now Boston just showing us once again that strategic mind this team has to deal with a lot of these things that Houston are throwing at them. Got to see another adjustment here from Houston to make sure that Boston don't take this map also and lead the series.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot closer than the Houston Outlaws would want it to be. Let's have a look at that replay. Oh, this is Crimson. All the way at the back. Oh, Lasho tries to go for a cheeky flank on a very weak Valentine. Crimson was there with the backup. That's what you want from your homies.
I don't even think that Valentine was actually looking at Lastro either. I think just Crimzo saw the opportunity, took it, and saved Valentine's life right there. That's a few times I feel like Boston has done some great work being able to protect their teammates and keep an eye out for them from flankers and just also Genji, I guess. Pelican specifically, but the Genji. Let's see.
All right. Same kind of stuff. I can't imagine either side are going to change at this point. No tracers. Just a more Genji. So, oh, okay, I was about to say, does the Zen randomly die at the start of this attack? Yes. Yes, they do.
Yeah, they were thinking ahead of what you thought would happen. Ooh.
So shot, wow. Piggy's shield went down at the most unopportune time there, rather unlucky. Now Pelican using the dash already. Should be good, he's getting healed up and he's standing behind the shield right now, but Victoria just farming off of the enemy Sigma shield. That could be so deadly. You farm off that, you go for a little peek on somebody, a little wide swing, and you're all good. With 1 minute to go, the Outlaws are gone from point A. They have disappeared. There should be a cap. I mean, the Outlaws ideally just want to set up on second here, I suppose, Rose, and just make this the final fight.
Yeah, I mean, just with the time bank as well, you know you're not going to be able to get back, and if you do try to approach that point, you could just lose everything, and then all of a sudden, Boston Uprising have an incredible lead of where this payload can go. So yeah, take the fight here, shut it down now. Houston is looking at 30 seconds left that they've got to try to fight off this clock.
All right, MCD's got the nano already. Arius 30% behind, but look at Pelican on his little perch right now. Nano onto Valentine. Someone's got to help Lastro. Reinforcements are coming. That's a whole lot of heals and a whole lot of damage flung Valentine's way. Now he's low without a deflect. Pelican cleans him up. Nano boost onto Pelican. Straight to the back line goes the Genji. Is he going to chill in the front? Oh, it doesn't matter. He's just going to kill everybody anyway. Punk ends up going down, and with a couple of seconds to go, the Boston Uprising unable to touch. And that is exactly where they need to defend from. Houston Outlaws with a decent defense. They did end up losing Merit fairly early on point A, which undid their point A. However, not a bad position to attack from either. If you get a clean team wipe, Rose, on point A, payload is going to move rather fast.
Absolutely. So Houston have 2 minutes to be able to get that done. Boston this time, they cannot lose anybody. We have seen how devastating it can be for either team in that defending position to just lose somebody. Watch your flanks. Boston, please stop getting picked off so early.
So true, so real. Extremely based. Supports, no die.
Yeah, it's just don't die. It's fine.
But to be fair, Sojourn doesn't glow at all when she's got 100 charge. So sometimes it's hard to tell. You know, with Zarya, she glows up like a Christmas tree, right, when she's 100 charge.
She looks like a disco ball. Like, she's having a good time.
The Sojourn, the opposite happens. You have a bad time because you can't really tell how charged she is. So she just kind of peek around the shield.
Hey, just always assume 100%.
Yeah.
That's
honestly, if you're playing against Sigma, assume that.
Yes.
100 energy every single time they go for a peek or look at you.
Exactly. We'll see if they actually think about that moving into this next round. Already we're seeing some cooldowns being used for the Boston Uprising to try to keep Houston at bay, but some nice pathing from Houston to try to just bypass some of this damage. I like the route, but is Valentine now going to be stuck alone to have to deal with Pelican? Hasn't worked out.
Oh. Looks like Valentine's out with Pelican quite easily. There you go. Nice little fight from the Uprising there. Little Astro wanted to go flank Pelican at that point, but yes, again, it's pretty tough to deal with the Sojourn at the best of times. At range, at close range, Disruptor Shot is rather annoying to deal with, but I suppose at least they have 62% on Nano. Iris can use that on Pelican. He can just go for one of his fancy ones again.
Yeah, Houston's looking for ults here because of the minute time bank they have left. They just need to be able to get something done through this fight.
Piggy anti. Oh, nice little punch there through the shield. Nice little rock, and Punk was trying to shield dance with Piggy, but he met his death at the hands of Merit. And now the rest of the team is going to fall over. 45 seconds to go. The Outlaws, they will cap A. They're actually Nano Valentine. Hang on a second, they're going to go straight in. The Nano Valentine, he pulled the blade, but look at this. A return Nano onto Piggy. He's going so low, he can't do the damage to take care of the Genji. And Pelican falling because he had no reflect. 30 seconds now remains, and a very late death for Piggy.
Yeah, wow, the stagger is real. I mean, Jaws, at this point, like, Piggy's on Sigma. That's pretty slow. Maybe you're able to get back with the Flux available to kind of help in the very final moments, but oh my god, you want Piggy up front and center to be able to contest the point right now, and there's 4 seconds left. Who's gonna get there?
Luckily, it's a dash from Pelican, but Lastro has already bitten the dust, and so is Merit. Valentine has found 2 kills, maybe even make that a third, as Pelican is pretty low. A Transcendence just to heal everybody up. The Boston Uprising wipe the Outlaws off the face of Midtown. They're going to defend point A and take the lead of the series.
Wow, I love how Boston Uprising, I feel like they hear us and they're like, or me specifically, and they just go,
calm down.
Yeah, we're gonna prove them wrong. We're proving everybody wrong today. But man, oh man, the celebration for these players is so deserved, Jaws. Like, Boston just continuously are impressing this series with how they're playing together as a team.
Yeah, man. Again, we see a humongous, like, 5K Genji play from Pelican. We had the triple railgun from Merit on the first map. Big flashy plays, but they can't close it out. You put it perfectly, Rose. The Boston Uprising, they're a scrappy team, and you saw at the very end there, Valentine. It was him versus the rest of the Outlaws, and they came out on top. Boston Uprising up 2 maps. Can they bring it home? We'll have to wait and find out after this break. All right, Valentine after that clutch up Genji Blade on Midtown. They're able to hold onto point A and take the map, Rose. We're heading to Lijiang Tower as our next one. It could be the final one. Boston Uprising could end it here. The Outlaws need something special to come back. But the way this series is looking, maybe Houston take this one, and then we go to map 5. We'll have to wait and see. Faith coming in for Uprising, and we got Doomte coming in for the Outlaws.
This might be the special something that Houston needs right now. I mean, I just think that this changes the way that Houston Outlaws plays the game overall when they are being centralized around that Doomfist pick. Dante just plays super fast and super aggressive, and that change may be what the doctor has ordered here. I mean, Boston are really putting Houston into a pinch right now at match point, Jaws.
Obviously some smack in the lobby chat there with Dante coming in, just calling out Crimzo. He said he can't wait for the Crimzo Moira.
Oh no.
Oh boy. It's might be a wild ride, we'll see. The Boston Uprising on this map, Rose. What do we really expect them to run here? Looks like we're going to control center.
Maybe we do see the Moira here. I don't know. I mean, it's control center. It's very brawly, traditionally. Maybe you want to be able to have more of that kind of healing option available to you. But I'm definitely expecting Doomfist. I know Doomfist. Do I get points for that? Houston's going to play Doomfist?
Not anymore.
Damn.
Nah, not anymore.
That's too bad.
That should be the free bingo on Overwatch Bingo.
Yeah.
Dante is in. He plays Doomfist. Free square in the center.
Yeah, that's... Unless Dante plays flexibly sometimes as a DPS for Houston.
Oh, that is true.
Then we have a problem, Jaws. That's no longer the free space, but
that's no longer a free one.
We do have Doomfist on control center. Really nice teleporter here to be able to get Houston lightning quick out of those spawn doors to try to fight and server. Sigma look here from Boston with the May, try to slow things down.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult for Outlaws to push up on towards this small high ground here. They really just have to go in as a unit and isolate one of the back line. See, Lastro already fending. Like, what is this? What is this from Lastro? I'm sorry. Why is he on the flank? I mean, you got the kick, son, but that's about it. And the extra 25 HP, I suppose. All right, Doomte is in, and he's out again. The Outlaws do manage to find the first cap, at least, but Doomte, yeah, no power block, no chance. The Boston Uprising going for the recap.
Yeah, they're gonna just have to reset here. I don't know. Okay, well, you know what? Lastro's off of Zen. Yep, we got the Lucio now. Everything is okay. Houston is starting this map from ground zero. All right, reset. We haven't played yet, Jaws. It's okay.
Yeah, go again. Apart from we got 15%. Ooh. That was almost a really nice wall from Valentine. Could have been quite nasty. I mean, Dante ideally just needs to juggle payload. A good little nade. Oh, the lamp goes a little bit too far. Unlucky. Faith falls because the lamp didn't exist for him. However, Dante struggling to really do much against the backline of the Uprising right now. Crimzo using the window on the point. Couldn't get the heals down onto Punk, and the Outlaws do find that flip. And of course, Pelican is in the kill feed.
I feel like the way that we saw Boston play that, though, right? If you have Pelican, you've got Dante on these more mobile heroes, play the high ground. Like, look at the positioning that Crimson was taking with the Batiste just to kind of sit on top of these smaller structures on the map. Yeah, Boston have to go again, but it's very even across the board. And we're seeing Valentine work up to the Blizzard, and Faith is the rally. But,
Good start. Nice punch there from Dante. Sends Punk into his own backline. Nano blade for Pelican. There's one. Can he make it? Another one. Oh, the block. Ain't going to save you, Valentine, unfortunately. Iris uses the Nano. Pelican uses the blade, and the rest is history. Valentine's ultimate, the Blizzard Rose, didn't really get all too much. Looks like he wanted to place it on top of Iris, but it went way short.
Well, I like the change here. I think Boston has recognized that the May is, you know, despite not finding value with the Blizzard, it's just not going to find the value that they want it to either when you've got Lastro on the Lucio on the other side just to kind of go away.
Rally, Overhealth still extremely strong. Speaking of which, there is the beat for the Outlaws. Their Overhealth is going to decay rather quickly. And with that flux, Iris is dead. Tried to get the sleep dart out. Was in the animation for it, but got killed before it unleashed. And now Doom takes straight on top of Victoria. But with 97% and building, the Outlaws are in a good position to win this next fight and take the round. Fate dying to Pelican? I mean, the Outlaws are probably still in this, to be honest, with Dante still being alive. Yeah, they are.
Wow.
Pelican with Dante, the cleanup crew. They're going to be able to find the flip. Boston Uprising, you know, they stopped instantly losing there, but it didn't matter. The Outlaws still managed to find the fight at the hands of Pelican. They're coming, the DPS are coming up clutch. Victoria had to dive in to trigger OT again. And now it is a Faith's job. He does kill Lastro, but can they find anything more off the top of this?
I don't know. I mean, Dante's really trying to get everybody's number on the Boston Uprising. Standing strong. Merritt with a nice pick there, Jaws.
Yeah, nice pick onto Valentine. Railgun to the chest. A lamp to save Punk's life. A punch out of the lamp from Dante. Punk retreats, but is still very low HP, and he's found a target. It is Pelican straight into the wall. No Nano Blade now. It's going to be a Nano Merit instead. He's got the railgun, insta-killing Punk. Someone's on the high ground. It's Crimso. Someone has to touch from the Uprising. They don't quite make it there, and the Outlaws, with a very clutch play from Pelican, a fight to go, managed to hold on to that point and claim the round.
Good stuff from the Houston Outlaws. I mean, that was very controlling. I think the way that Houston played that, you know, they really forced Boston into these really awkward fights, whether it was Merritt, just kind of with the disruptor shot, really forcing Boston to pivot into something else from Houston. Really great territorial control. We're going to a map that's a bit more open, though. And so we will start to see some changes come through from these heroes. Maybe we get a chance to see a bit more of what Boston have up their sleeve as we see the Doomfist now for Punk just to start with in this round.
The Houston Outlaws do beat Uprising to the middle of the map, and you can see that in Dante's positioning. Attempted boot there by Faith, but Pelican goes a little bit too ham into the back line, and that was up to the Uprising to try and shift the momentum in their favor. Punk 11 HP, just claims the health back in time. An extra 250 to heal him up as the point unlocks. And with Dante dead, the Outlaws backing up.
Yeah, we've got the Echo here from Pelican now. We had the Genji to start with, but the Echo is going to provide a lot of that aerial support. Who do you send? I mean, Victoria's going to have to look at that direction. We all know how difficult it can be sometimes as a hit scan to deal with something like an Echo or a Pharah.
Pelican using that vertical mobility to good use so far. Dante comes up with a couple of kills, nice. But with Iris going down, a lot less heals for the Outlaws. Shouldn't matter though. The onslaught continues for Houston. Dante gets slept, should be good. Point caps, and the Outlaws are in control.
They are, but Boston's going to come back into this one really quickly. You can see Faith has gone ahead and tried to accelerate everybody. And yeah, Victoria going to open things right back up for Boston.
Oh, nice little double shot there on to Pelican. Oh, the skill orb was chasing him. That is so sad. The Houston Outlaws, they lost Dante very late into that last fight. He's able to get back in time to contest a little bit more, gain a couple more percent, but that is about it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, or at least that team fight, Dante ended up being a bit of an ult battery because I don't really know how much that extra couple of percent is going to matter as Boston now with huge numbers of ultimates here. Victoria did have to use the overclock to secure the point, but you've got a Nano Blade, you've got the beat as well, and way to punch out this Coalescence.
Yep, Diamond Orb thrown out, Coalescence on top. Oh, the Nano Blade. He tried to kill Pelican in the air, but was rather unsuccessful. With Faith using the beat, Houston Outlaws, unperturbed, they do end up chasing away. the Boston Uprising, that nano blade from Valentine. I could see what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
He was trying to look fancy. Did it work out? Absolutely not.
No, it was it would have been a really nice skill shot if that had actually been able to be followed through on. But you can see that Boston actually is going to switch over to the Tracer again. And so maybe adding just a bit of extra mobility, doesn't want to have to duel with Pelican anymore.
Nope. Okay, well, he's dead. Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Yep.
Pelican with the ult. Should be a fairly easy cleanup. However, the Iris dying down, not the best duplication available for Pelican, but Merit is able to clean up
Now,
quite easily.
yeah, we were fighting in the neutral before. Really no ultimates to be used here. Unfortunately, Crimso's also going to be sent back to spawn and stagger out the Boston Uprising just a little bit more. But now we are starting to get those ultimates back online. Pelican with a duplicate, and we're approaching that last fight territory where Houston could just bring us into a map 5 right here as we look at that duplicate, hopefully finding some value for them to take us to our 5th and final map.
Oh, Pelican. Lucio dupe, trying to get boops. 50% towards that pulse is Valentine. He is nanoed, he's doing a fair bit of damage, but Lastro is just eating up so much of his time on that nano boost. Meanwhile, Dante dealt with the front and back line. Houston Outlaws still in control with 99% and overtime ticking down. It could be a quite quick and easy control map for the Outlaws to bring us to a game 5. Is Crimso back on the point? Well, Dante did laugh at his Moira, and unfortunately, he can continue laughing, I think. No hope there for Crimso. 99%, make it 100. The Outlaws taking us to map number 5.
We have such a good series on our hands so far, Jaws. I like the palette cleanser that we have been gifted as a second series of the day.
Palette cleanser? Palette cleanser?
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think so.
Just a little bit. We've had some sick plays, to be fair.
Yeah.
So, all right, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. We've seen some really nice clutch moments from both of these teams, but it does come down to this 5th and final map. The scrappy versus the strategic. See what happens.
Well, we'll have to see what both teams want to do in map number 5. We're going back to push. We'll see you guys in just a moment.
this was only ever going to be a map number 5, especially after that Colosseo victory for the Boston Uprising. Outlaws got 117 meters, and then the Boston Uprising just did them over. Rose, was it really going to go any other way? I don't think anybody could really argue at this point. We're going to New Queen Street, another push map, and we have MCD coming in for Uprising. We still have Doomte in for the Outlaws.
That makes sense. The Doomfist, the Dante Doomfist, Doomfist Dante? Dantank?
Doomte.
Yeah, Doomte. Okay, I don't know. There's so many different ways that you could call that, but yeah, Dante, I think, was always going to stay in for New Queen Street. There's just some really nice rollouts, and obviously, when it works, it works. And so, my question is Lijiang Tower, when you had to face the Doomfist, enough of a sample size for Boston Uprising to figure out how to play against it? Jaws, they've been doing an incredible job of adjusting when Houston Outlaws have pulled something out of their back pocket that they weren't expecting. And so let's see if they're able to do the same on New Queen Street, especially when they were able to do it on the fly on Colosseo in that first map.
Yeah, it did require Punk playing a roulette wheel worth of heroes. You know, Sigma, then Doomfist, then Monkey. And it was the Winston that really rounded it out for them at the end of it.
Absolutely.
The Queen Street is a very different map, though, when it comes to compositions. We do see a lot of Sigma here, but the rush with the Doomfist and stuff like that, like, well, I guess not rush, there's no Ryan Lucio, but you get what I mean.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
The dive with the Doomfist and whatnot. It's just so good. And the Outlaws, they've been playing this thing with Dante since the beginning of the season. You know, when he comes in, he plays Doomfist. Pelican and Merit are probably going to be on Sojourn and the Genji. Let's have a look at some stats, though. I mean, at the end of the day, like, Pelican has been so integral to this match for the Houston Outlaws. His Dragon plays and just his normal Genji play has been sublime so far. But Valentine, right now, Rose, he's catching up to him in terms of stats on the Genji.
He is, and I think the one that really speaks volumes is just the deaths per 10 minutes. You know, the desk had pointed out at the beginning of the match that Pelican has died a lot. You know, still the fact that Pelican is able to get so much done in terms of final blows, you know that stat's getting a bit padded by the fact that the Dragon Blade is going to end up kind of helping that particular statistic out, and Pelican's been doing phenomenally, getting, you know, 3 to 5 kills with every single Dragon Blade, but the longer you're alive, the more value you can provide to the team. So...
Very true. Very true. Exist more, heal more, damage more.
Exactly.
Feels good.
It all comes together.
Right, this is the 3rd match in a row for the Outlaws. They've gone to a map number 5. Can they make it the 3rd win? The Atlanta Reign, the legendary C9.
Yep.
They had the close game against the New York Excelsior yesterday. And now we're here once again, a very familiar series for the Houston Outlaws. I mean, map 5 at this point, Rose, it's in their blood.
Yeah, it's inevitable. We were always going to go to a map 5 knowing that it was Houston Outlaws and this second half of stage 2 playing in a match. So let's see what Boston decided to come out with. You know what Houston's going to be playing. It's the Doomfist and the Genji working simultaneously to try to dive something in the back line. But what are Boston Uprising going to do to counteract that? Try to stop that from happening. You can see how quickly Dante on the Doomfist is able to get these rollouts through. But Boston playing with Tracer and Hanzo to round out the DPS lineup alongside that Doomfist. Love the angles that Victoria can get here.
No Sojourn. Yeah, the Hanzo with out the shield, way better at getting these railgun one-shots because there's less to kind of charge up on. Oh, wait, Crimzo was trying to be cheeky there. Yeah, pays for it, unfortunately, with his life. Tried to boot people off the edge with a kick. Outlaws winning this first engagement. Controlling the bot. Okay, not a bad start whatsoever. The Hanzo is a little bit more vulnerable, though, I will say. Power slide, you gain so much distance and height, and in fact, there you go. Victoria switching over to the Sojourn instead of the Hanzo.
Yeah, I think just recognizing the Sojourn is going to give you so much more value. Like, yeah, Hanzo can get those nice angles, but that lack of mobility can really hurt you, for sure. So let's see if Victoria can catch up to the damage output that Merit has been getting that has already netted him 60% towards the overclock here.
Yeah, not bad whatsoever. Oh, wow. Okay. Didn't expect Punk to be there. Yikes. The Outlaws had a nice little thing going there on the stairs, but a small little stone tripped them up. That stone was Punk. The Outlaws do push it, you know, respectable meterage there, 39. And as the Boston Uprising now take control.
Yeah, they still need to have one more team fight win to be able to get towards that check mark of just kind of being able to overtake Houston Outlaws' progress, and then not far after that, you also have that first point capture to get those closer spawns. But MCD can really kick things off here with a Nano to try to get this.
Yep, there you go. Targeted Nano straight onto Punk as he launches himself into the small little shop there. Did some shopping, didn't take the receipt, took Lastro's life though. Houston Outlaws now just, again, put themselves on the payload, try and take care of Pelican. That's going to be the key target for the Boston Uprising right here. Taking Pelican out to the cleaners. Oh, Valentine, though, goes down to Merit's headshot. However, Punk, quick on the case, cleans up with ease.
Oh, I like how Punk is going to be able to punch kind of in and out, really using those cooldowns super methodically. But Houston about to spend some ults here.
Oh, Crimzo was under a little bit too much pressure. Both Transcendences used. No one going down just yet, but Pelican's more than happy with this. Can use the blade at just a moment's notice. That disruptor shot, stopping Pelican from going through the door, but Punk playing rather aggro with his ult. Jumps straight in front of Lastro without even getting a single kill. And now the Outlaws taking control with Punk going down. Boston Uprising can't. Ooh! Okay, Pelican. Very nice.
Ooh, okay, so Houston get to get really close to just kind of overtaking. Yeah, just like that, the bot gets there. And oh, wow. Huge pick on a Crimzo too, Jaws. I mean, Boston really need to get back to this point so that Houston don't get this first capture.
Any touches? No touches. Okay. Butt scratch mode for the bot.
Why do we call it that?
Well, that's what he does. That's literally what he's doing. So, you know, you can't blame me for calling it something like that. Nano Blade available for the Outlaws. Has been pulled, but instantly slept, in fact. MCD, quick on the trigger. Shut down Pelican. Crimzo finishes him off with a nice juicy right click. The bot is still moving. And the forward spawns have been unlocked for the Outlaws. Dante, it was Dante v Valentine at the end of that fight. It was so scrappy there was only 2 of them left. Luckily, the Boston Uprising have the closer spawns as Punk rejoins the fray.
Well, not only that.
Wait,
what?
Valentine just used pulse on the ground.
Oh, no. Oh, no. That was a fat finger.
Valentine used pulse on the ground. And he's got no recall either. Look how far he's backing up.
Oh, man.
Okay, well. A few question marks there in the chat.
Does that count? That doesn't count as a C9. That's something completely different. But I feel like you should write it down on your cardboard anyway.
Yeah.
Like
misusing the ultimate, fat fingering, pulling a custer. I don't know. Anyway. Houston Outlaws still in control. Like, yeah, that's a big ultimate to lose if you're Valentine. He's got 40% towards another one. Boston Uprising trying to make some space with this nano boost. It's not needed though, as Valentine takes care of Merit. They're in a good position, but they got to deal with Dante. Dante using that meteor strike straight on top of Crimzo's head. He's just scrap metal at this point, and a nice sleep onto Punk. Nice return frags for the Outlaws.
Yeah, look at the ultimates that Houston Outlaws have too as they try to get back towards the bot. I mean, okay, oh no, Valentine, what are you doing? Let's see. Oh.
Wait, he sprayed. Okay.
He spied. Did you combine the keys?
Yeah, did you bind both keys to that? I don't know. Not sure what happened. Ooh, wow, Crimzo is low. Someone help him. Oh, they're helping him. They're helping. Dante, low. Transcendence used to keep him up. Victoria used the overclock. Dante going very low. In fact, gets nanoed as he leaps away. Now going to have to wait for that seismic slam again. Crimzo popping the Transcendence. Way too much damage that Dante was bearing, so popping the Transcend, not the worst. But Pelican now in the back and Merit also on the flank. Both DPS from the Outlaws surprising the Boston Uprising. Like it's a horror house. The Outlaws, they just need to control the bot for as long as possible in this position. The Uprising gonna have to win a couple of fights here to net them a lead. Crimzo heals up 2, Valentine cleans up, and the Outlaws burning a lot of time there. 4 minutes to go in this round.
It's not insurmountable, though. We saw what Boston Uprising could do on Colosseo. So I'm looking at this 4-minute time pick, and I'm like, surely that's enough. You know, for Boston to make some magic happen here. Obviously, Houston Outlaws, they get to come back into this one with a Blade and the Meteor Strike and a pick to start things off.
Blade for Pelican, with Crimzo already gone. They used the Transcendence last fight, so we didn't need to worry about that anyway. Blade into the power block. Punk misses the punch, but Valentine and Victoria on the flank. He's going to get cleaned up, and Pelican and Merit's more than willing to accept the low health bars of the Boston Uprising team. And the Houston Outlaws once again regain control. The Boston Uprising game right now is slipping through their fingers.
Yeah, I mean, even with the ultimates that Boston Uprising are going to get online for this next fight, they haven't forced out enough from Houston. With how long these fights are going, too, Lastro's going to have the Transcendence for that sustain. Oh. Okay, well that's good, Valentine. Where was the spray,
though? Missed it
though?
that time around. That's made up for the one that you used on the floor. All good. But you still need to win a couple of fights here, Rose. What,
Yeah.
it's 40 meters versus 90?
Yeah, it's still
Quite the lead
it's
right
still
now.
not looking good. We've seen Boston Uprising come back from this one though before, but it's a little bit of a different look as Boston Uprising's kind of set in their ways, looking at Punk to try to open things up, and also Valentine to not get picked off.
Oh, nice little engagement there from Punk. Almost baited Dante. Defensive using the Meteor Strike that time around.
Dante has one too. Pause. Is he gonna use it?
Yeah, a brief
Doesn't
stop
do it.
in the action. I say that. It's just a lot of people sparring against each other. Dante with a big fist. Unfortunately, Crimzo's boots not quite to match. The Outlaws, once again, finding the team kill, or quite close to it. 2 minutes to go, and the Outlaws just refusing to give up without a fight. Boston Uprising did gain, what, 6 meters there? But it's still really not enough. The tempo
No.
the Outlaws are currently setting is too much for Boston to handle.
Well, they've got the Nano Blade. They're gonna have a Transcendence on top of that. The Overclock. They got everything almost except for the Meteor Strike from Houston. And look at the picks that they're getting too. Jaws, like this should be another big pick.
Lasher in trouble, but Punk maybe a little bit more so. He's even got the Transcendence. There we go. Straight on top of the rest of the Outlaws. Merit is 1 HP. Oh, didn't quite get in the Transcendence in time, but the Outlaws are still gaining meterage over 100. It's a familiar situation. Wind your minds back to map number 1 with Outlaws getting 117. However, this time it might be a little bit of a different story. Lastro somehow still alive, eventually taken care of, but not before the Outlaws gain a couple more meters. The Uprising, they need to come back with 50 seconds to go. It's not looking good. They need to gain 60 meters, Rose.
All right, so Houston are set up for success. As long as they don't drop the whatever, spaghetti bag, I don't know. Pelican's
Linguini.
got the blade. Pelican has popped off before. If you are a Houston fan, you were looking at Pelican and you were looking at Merit here to get collateral, to get these blades, to do some work, but Boston's been able to shut this down before, and they've got the clutch factor, Jaws.
Unbelievable low advantage. Valentine whipping the pulse bomb. That's the only thing Boston Uprising had to stay to keep them in this fight. Merit only finds a couple of little body shots there with the overclock, and lashed. Oh, Pelican actually gets slept in blade. So now both DPS ults out for the Outlaws. Victoria and Pelican are dead, but Punk in a whole world of hurt. Overtime is here, and the Uprising are pushing, but it is Crimzo against the world. FCD hits him with a nano, and Crimzo finds 2. The Boston Uprising in control of the bot right now as it nears the checkpoint.
Wow, look at that. We're going to see such a dance right now as Valentine is continuing to try to push this forward, but Pelican just salsaing with him.
Checkpoint unlocked. The Outlaws, they know they need to win 1 fight, and the Uprising still need to gain a whole bunch of meters before they can call this series theirs. Crimzo's in the back with that nano boost. He did a lot of damage and almost nearing that Transcendence, but Doomtake's already in. Crimzo annihilated. MCD in trouble. Both supports dead. The Boston Uprising, they did it once, but it's looking unlikely they're going to do it again. The Houston Outlaws, for the 3rd time in a row, take Map 5 in a series.
Ooh, boy. Houston really just kind of giving their fans some roller coasters of emotion. Wow, like I don't know. Maybe just they want to make sure that the team is getting enough play time, having all of these map 5s, but incredible stuff coming out from Houston, and you also have to give so many commendations to Boston Uprising as well to bring them to a map 5 to begin with.
Yeah, Matt, they are the map 5 team right now.
Yeah.
The Houston Outlaws, they've won every single map 5 they've been in except for one against the Toronto Defiant earlier on in this season. That's 3 series in a row. They've gone to map 5 and they've won. Like, that's something at least. Oh, and the C9 card is still 0. It's nothing. We're all good. We can rip it up now. I
save it.
took the sellotape off, so I didn't struggle with it and look pathetic. So. There you go, but apparently I'm still struggling with it, so that's great. Joke's done. There we go. No C9s for the Houston Outlaws, but a big W, that is for sure. Pelican is going to be our player of the match, and yeah, he ought to get a nice steak dinner after today because his Genji play looked unreal.
Looks so good. How many? That's what we should use your cardboard for, Jaws, is how many 4+ Dragon Blade kills did Pelican get? It was a lot. I mean, the highlight reel is full of them.
He looks so good throughout this whole series, and hey, it could have given it some merit, to be fair, after that triple collab, but at the end of the day, it's the Genji Blades that really brought it home for the Outlaws. I mean, they're looking good. Look, they did go to map 5 versus New York, okay, and almost gave them their second win, but they took Atlanta to a map 5. And apparently that's just what you need to do if you Houston Outlaws. Survive the first 2 maps, and then go to map 5, and then win.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can give Pelican the player of the match, too, for just the improvement over the match versus New York to today. Pelican definitely showed up, and the entire team of Houston Outlaws definitely playing better as well. Just kind of following up on a lot of the engagement tools, too, that were used.
Yeah, he's looked improved, that is for sure. Outlaws, so they've done it once again. Fortunately, the Boston Uprising don't claim a win, but all the Houston fans can scream in joy. They were 4th, I believe, entering today. The standings still can be mixed up just a little bit over today and tomorrow, so I'm excited to see where they actually end up. There's still a lot to play for. We're going to jump to a quick break, though. We've got one more series after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Upper Deck, the official trading card of the Overwatch League. And by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Welcome to Game Break, everybody. I'm here joined now by Pelican from Houston Outlaws. Pelican, congratulations on the win. This was another Map 5 banger, but at the end, it was Houston Outlaws who clutched out the win. How'd you guys defeat the Boston Uprising? 자, 첫 번째 질문은 쉬운 걸로 가겠습니다. 오늘 경기 생각보다 이번 경기도 굉장히 접전이었는데요. 오늘 보스턴과의 경기 어떻게 해서 승리를 거두시게 된 것 같으신가요?
일단은 어제보다 제가 더 잘했다? 그것 때문에 이긴 것 같긴 한데 너무 힘들게 이긴 건 비기 때문에 힘든 것 같아요.
Okay. All right. I do feel like, compared to yesterday, my performance was a lot better, but it was a lot more difficult. It wasn't an easy win for us today, and mainly just I think it was because of Piggy. My second question is also about that. Piggy had a lot to say about you, actually, Pelican. I don't know if you saw the interview, but he basically blamed the match going so long and difficult because of you. You died a lot, and you also today are saying that it was sort of Piggy's fault that it took so long to get the win as well. What do you think? What do you think's the problem with Piggy? 자, 두 번째 질문은 어제 인터뷰를 보셨을지 모르겠지만 어제 피기 선수도 이제 우리 또 펠리칸 선수와 좀 비슷한 생각인 것 같아요. 뭐 펠리칸 선수 때문에 어제 경기가 굉장히 힘들었다. 오늘도 펠리칸 선수도 피기 때문에 경기가 좀 힘들었다 했는데 펠리칸 선수가 보시기에 피기 선수에 대한 어떤 개인적인 의견은 어떤가요? 좀 어떤 선수인가요?
일단은 왜 그런지 모르겠는데 이제 긴장을 너무 많이 하고 그리고 가끔씩 너무 던져요. 그래가지고 이게 좀 게임이 힘들다 이렇게 맨날 피기가 나올 때마다 그렇게 생각합니다, 저는.
Okay, what I think is, Piggy, for no apparent reason, he just gets nervous really, really frequently. And there's a lot of times that he throws the game, whenever he's on or playing. So I think that's what makes the games difficult for our team. Why are you laughing? You're the one who gave me the answer. I'm just translating. 여기서 이렇게 웃으시면 안 되죠. 여기는 진지한 인터뷰를 하고 있는 도중입니다. 네. 아무튼 thank you so much for the answer. All right, last question for you, Pelican, is also I've seen that today you were mainly sticking with Genji today. You used a little bit of Echo, as far as I remember, but it was mostly Genji. What was the reason for that? Is it just comfort pick, or was there like an actual strategy involved? 자, 마지막 질문은 오늘 펠리칸 선수가 거의 겐지 위주로 플레이를 하셨는데 뭐 살짝의 에코도 기용을 하셨지만 거의 다 겐지였는데 그거에 대한 좀 이유가 있을까요? 좀 이게 전략적인 건가요? 아니면 그냥 좀 자신 있는 영웅을 쓰신 건가요?
일단 어제 너무 못해가지고 그걸 만회해야겠다. 오늘은 겐지로 잘 해야겠다. 뭐 이런 생각도 있고 그것도 있고 전략도 있고 그랬던 것 같아요.
All right. I mean, I said this before, but my performance yesterday wasn't that good. It was pretty bad. So I wanted to prove to everyone that that I could do better, and that is, I think, why I chose with Genji. And also, there is a little bit of strategy for our team involved as well. All right, Pelican, thank you so much for the fun interview, and again, big congratulations on the win. 자, 오늘 너무너무 재밌는 인터뷰 해주셔서 너무 감사드리고 승리 너무너무 감사드립니다. 바이바이.
바이바이.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Pelican. And the revolving doors of the Houston Outlaws and blaming each other and saying that they performed poorly.
Look at all this
Love
internal strife.
I'm gonna keep this going.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I pick Merritt and Merrick blames Dante. Dante blames him.
You're just gonna cause the Houston Outlaws to blow up. Just gonna cause all this drama. It's probably pretty good to have those like that kind of banter, like having fun with each other, being loose, and it's like, they were the problem because obviously, I guess it kind of worked for Pelican today. Yeah. He did play better than he did yesterday with all of his, I wouldn't say it was feeding, but he did get picked quite a bit yesterday in yesterday's matchup. But today it was pretty clean. It looked good. He had nice Dragon Blades.
His Genji, oh my god.
Yeah, his Genji. I mean, it was spectacular. So many highlights. We can just dive right into the game, really, and discuss what happened. We kicked off on Colosseo, though, and it was not your typical Houston Outlaws composition, really, with Dante on the Doomfist. Instead, we saw them playing the Brawl composition, and they got an early lead, Costa.
Oh, watch this.
There's a triple blast.
Oh, my God.
that might not happen for like years.
Yeah,
That's going to be so rare.
people don't line up like that very often.
Like I don't know how does that feel as a player?